Well, no doubt you'll recognise where I am. I'm at the mouth of the River Crete for this thought for this Wednesday, the word for Wednesday. It's a wonderful idea, this. It was Brian MacLeod that initiated it. It's just a way of bringing encouragement to the people of God halfway through the week between Sunday and Sunday, as it were. I love this spot, I absolutely love it. There's so many beautiful spots in Lewis, but this is one of my favourite for sure. I love to come here and read the Bible. I love to come and just look at the view. Sometimes pray here. It's just so very beautiful. But you know, as I'm here today, I'm remembering a Christian preacher who actually put guilt upon the gathering, because he said that many Christians, their mouths reminded him of rivers in the north of Canada. They were frozen at the mouth. And of course he built on that to make us feel very guilty about not opening our mouths enough in witness. I could easily expand on that and make us feel all very guilty, but I don't really want to do that. This is to strengthen, encourage and comfort you. I think though our words, our mouths can get frozen as believers. Sometimes, for example, we want to pray, but we don't really feel we've got the words to pray. Sometimes we feel we do want to witness, but we're a bit nervous and we don't feel we're terribly good or competent at it. You know, I share in that with you. I remember, for example, the first time that I tried to pray out loud. I was about 13. I'd just been converted, and there was a little prayer meeting in our school, and a few of us used to gather for that. And I felt as though I was sitting in a pin, as though I really wanted to pray. But I thought I was going to pass out. My heart was thumping. I was hyperventilating. I was in a cold sweat. But eventually I got the words out. And you know what? When you break the sound barrier for the first time, it becomes a bit easier after that. I had difficulty as well learning to witness. Preaching is a gift from God, but witnessing, to my mind, takes much more courage than preaching. And I remember when I was a student minister that I was in a church in Lindsay, and the minister there was a Mr. Orrick, and he brought this man to me after the evening service once. And he said, "Kenny, will you speak to this man?" And I'd been preaching at the evening service, and we'd ended with a lovely old hymn, "Jesus Saves." We have heard the wonderful sound, Jesus saves. And this man just asked me outright, "What does it mean, Jesus saves?" And you know what I said to him? I said, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And he said, "I'm a lawyer." But that last hymn that we were singing, Jesus saves, are we not all saved anyway? What does it mean, Jesus saves? You know what I said to him this time? I said, "Have you been coming here long?" And then he said, "Oh, I've been coming for about 3 or 4 months. But that last hymn, Jesus saves, what does it mean?" And you know what I felt at that point? I felt the Holy Spirit physically, as it were, coming up my spine and almost going like that to me. In other words, "Kenny, I am giving you this on a plate. Will you open your mouth and will you speak a word for me?" So I'm with those of you who find it difficult to pray, even privately. You sometimes feel you don't know the words to say and your mouth gets frozen. I'm with those of you who struggle perhaps to pray out loud in a prayer meeting or whatever. I've been there with you. I'm with those of you who find witnessing a bit difficult. I am with you in all these things. I've been there. And it's so easy maybe when you see somebody up in a pulpit preaching to think that somehow it was all in place right from the start. And I could never be like that. E.M. Bounds was a wonderful writer on prayer. He wrote books on prayer. But you know what he said? He said the best way to learn to pray is to pray. Just make a start. And you know what? I think that's true for all these other aspects of how we serve God and with our mouths. If you feel a bit frozen at the mouth, if you feel, I don't really know how to pray, just make a start with your own words. When my daughter and son were learning to speak and they came to me with half-formed words and half-formed sentences, I didn't say to them, oh, get out my sight and come back when you can speak in proper sentences. I just loved the fact that they were speaking to me. Just make a start praying. Just make a start witnessing. That night in that church, I made a start one-to-one witnessing. And I don't know that I made a very good job of it, but I made a start, and my mouth became unfrozen, and living water started to flow. And you know, that's what Mr. Orrick wanted, because I went to that church because I specifically knew that he was a minister who sought the Holy Spirit and knew about the Holy Spirit and was open to the baptism in the Holy Spirit and the gifts of the Holy Spirit. And I said to him afterwards, I said, you know, the strangest thing, all these midges here, if I'm scratching myself, that's why. I said to Mr. Orrick afterwards, I said, you know, when I was speaking to that lawyer, I said, the strangest thing, I felt the Holy Spirit coming up my back and almost hitting me in the back of my head so that I would speak the words out. And he laughed and he said, what does it say in Acts chapter 1? What does it say about the Holy Spirit? You shall receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you shall be what? He asked. And I said, you shall be my witnesses. My mouth was unfrozen. The living water started to flow. So prayer or witness or thanksgiving or whatever it may be, I wonder if God needs to just touch your lips and unfreeze them. Because if you're born of God, the Holy Spirit, the rivers of his living water are there. They're there for sure. And sometimes we just need the encouragement of God. And maybe this word will be the encouragement of God for you. Just to open your mouth and to start speaking. And can I end almost with perhaps a fearful note? I do remember being in one of my parishes once, and the Lord said to me, go in and speak to that man. I didn't know who lived in the house. And I said, Lord, I can't do that. I can't just go in and speak to someone I don't know. He said to me the next day as I passed the house, go in and speak to that man. I said, Lord, I can't do it. And he asked me a third day in a row, go in and speak to that man. And I didn't do it. And the next day the man died. That was a salutary lesson. And I hope, in an odd sense, that that may help you to see that though this talk is coming to you in a pleasant tone from a pleasant place, a lot may depend on you following the nudge of the Holy Spirit. That feeling, I feel I'm meant to speak to someone. I feel I'm meant to phone them up. I feel I'm meant to just say this to them, even though it seems very simple. Follow that nudge through. The best way to learn something is just to make a start. So whether it's prayer, whether it's witness, whether it's something like thanksgiving, whether it's testimony, whatever it may be, whatever means God means to pour the living water of His Spirit through your mouth this day and any other day, may you know His encouragement. May you know the prodding of His Spirit, even if He doesn't thump you in the back of the head. May you know His encouraging presence. May you know that the best way to learn to do something is just to make a start. So whatever you feel today, the Spirit of God is urging you to say with your mouth, prayer, praise, thanksgiving, witness, that nudge to give an encouraging word. I pray you'll not be frozen at the mouth. So God bless, and bye for now.